not least of which because it's quiz day. And I see John's got his SAX, S-A-X, ready there to, oh, well, it's actually a still picture. Maybe he's got a musical for us today. I'm not sure. We'll find out later on. I quickly want to get to the charts because there may be something I need to do in a bit of a hurry. And it's not the pound, but I am having a look at the pound. Looks to be interesting today. Let me see. There to there, 88 pips. There to there, 40. That's not too dusty. And there to there, well, you can't go through there, is 23. No, you can't go through there, I don't think. High side I'd accept, but not the low side. They didn't have that little bump there and that little false break. It'd be okay. Righto. Now here's what I'm preparing to do. It's euro dollar, and it's on the hourly chart. I'm going to place a long above this candle if it closes as it is now, and at the very same time, I will move my stops to entry on euro Swissy, which has triggered but hasn't gone to TP1 yet. So that may be necessary in the next few minutes or so. Just stand by for that. I'll give you the levels. We can put the levels in for this if it does necessitate an order. 118.06 will be the entry. Where am I? So it'll be euro dollar. H1. And it will be a buy at 118.06, I think I said, with a stop loss at this stage anyway. Tell me, won't. Stupid platform. 117.91 will be the stop loss. Let's file that. Stop loss in big letters. 1.1791 and TP1. We will shoot for that red line there, which is, goodness me, I can't read it, 118.13. So TP1, 118.13. Now, not sure if you guys are in Euro Swissy, but as I said, it hasn't hit TP1 yet. And with the look of the euro, to me, it could explode to the upside. Now, that's primarily against the dollar, so this may not be affected. But if it is, I want to safeguard myself here on Euro Swissy. So stand by for action. It may peter out and do nothing, of course, but you know, got to be ready. Simple as that. Just briefly, we took a new order today, and that has already greeted the TP1 mark. In fact, looks really cool. Kiwi yen. We went short at 77.34, and we've got a stop loss at, well, not anymore. It's now about 77.62, I believe. And as you can see, we've taken TP1 relatively quickly and easily. I'm hopeful that will be the same with Euro Swissy, but I'm not going to risk an explosion to the upside because I think it's on. Could well be on. We shall see. All right, now I'm just getting ready to place that order. There we go. 0.5. It's a buy stop, 118.06. and the stop loss 117.91. Order in, pardon me. Okay, Euro Swissy at the same time. Stops to entry, which would be, that's easy to do, stop loss to 0. Okay, so if that gets taken out, so be it. If it doesn't, and we get TP1, I'll move my stop back to whatever it was, minus 14. All right, now why did I want to do all that? Well, I think I've told you I don't want to miss a TP1 like we have already on Euro Swissy. Not that it got to TP1 at all, it's just that it hasn't made the grade. What has happened, however, is we've had a setup on Euro US dollar that is screaming at me, place an order. And the reason is we've got a little double bottom sitting here. We've potentially got a higher low now, but we've certainly got a break and retest of the daily pivot. In other words, a double cross. And we've also got a potential false break. Looks pretty clear to me that this could well be a false break of that support trade line. We have also got an area of liquidity here, but generally, if the market's looking for liquidity, it goes pretty fast. So this one's hanging around a bit. May not be a liquidity grab. It may simply be that we've got the bottom of a bit of a sell-off over the last 3 days. We will see. If that gets triggered, I will take this manually, of course. If it spikes through there, then I won't take the profit at that level. I'll wait and see where it spikes to, if you get that luxury. Sometimes that does not happen. Okay, what else we got happening, guys? All the trades are going okay. Haven't been triggered on pound Swissy. That's still making up its mind what it wants to do. If you want to get into that and haven't placed an order and feel that it's now time so to do, they are the parameters around which I'm trading this one. We've got Euro Yen. Euro Yen looks pretty good. If it can actually close below this level, I think we're off to the races here on Euro Yen. I mean, we've been in this we traded that bar there, did we not? Yes, we did. So this is going super well. That bar there, which was what, 2.5 weeks ago or 2 weeks ago, we risked 45 pips from memory, and we're now 330 to the good. That's pretty cool. 46 pips, sorry, my error. So this could give us a really nice result. You would expect a pullback probably in this area. So I'm inclined to leave the stop loss where it is. Maybe could move it down tomorrow to above all the pivots. That would kind of make sense. The Aussie is also looking very, very similar. And now we've got that in profit already, the stop loss. I'm inclined to think tomorrow we might even take a bit more profit on this and close that off. I see Lewis has his hand up. I can't see the chat. Now I can. Happy Thursday, Paul P, to you as well, mate. What else have we got? Pound Kiwi. I think we're still in drawdown on pound Kiwi, but it's getting closer to our entry. I do like that candle. That looks good. Retest of the trade line, the broken trade line, and now looking like it wants to put a big tail on the downside. The only other one I think we're in, guys, is Euro CAD, which is on this chart, but I don't know where. There it is. Euro CAD's coming back at us a little bit. There's, of course, plenty of breathing room on this. I would get a little bit disheveled if it got above this trade line and retested it. That wouldn't be so good. we'd be giving back a fair bit to the market if that were the case. But whilst ever we're below that trade line, I think we're okay. Well, that's probably all I've got at the moment in terms of trades. Euro Swissy. Gee, I wish they'd get the TP1. That would be good. And I'll just leave my chart on the Euro, guys, in case I have to do something. So there we go. Fat finger. Okay, no problem, Lewis. Still in you. Did you get into both Euro yen and pound yen, Lewis? Be interested to know that they're going real good. As you guys were telling me on Monday, the seasonalities on the euro, on the yen are suggesting strength, and it certainly appears that is the case at the moment anyway. So now we're in euro yen, we're in Kiwi yen, and a couple against the Swissy as well. So to my mind, nice, mate. Nice, well done. To my mind, that suggests a currency risk off scenario. Speaking of which, how is Aussie yen going? Oh, I wish I was in that. But you can't be in them all. You can't be in them all. Wow. How long ago did we see this coming? Way back up here. And couldn't hang on. Pound yen also. Remember pound yen from, I think it was 2 or 3 weeks ago. And I got out of it, silly Billy. We traded this bar. And now it looks as though it's gone. Well, sorry, we did trade that bar, but we got in up here at the weekly pivot. So that's now well in profit, pound yen. But guess what? I bailed out of it for a very, very small loss. That could turn into anything. You would suggest that it'll probably get down here to the neckline, then maybe pop back up. Maybe we can get into it yet if it does continue to go. But certainly, Lewis, like you and Ash were drumming into me on Monday, the yen looks to be strengthening day in, day out. And that, because we're in trades, is a bloody good thing. Speaking of which, the Poms played the Itais.
They do, mate.
In the Euro Championship final. Wow. Must have been exciting, mate. Extra time.
Oh, do you know, it was tense. It was pretty tense, but yeah, we got through. The only glimmer of hope I think we may have is that I think it's Spinazzola, I think his name is, but there's a really good Italian left back, possibly their best player, and he was injured in the 2 games. Was it the last game or the game before? No, the game before the last game. And they did look a little bit imbalanced when they played Spain, but they are good. The Italians are very, very good. So whether England can do it or not, I don't know. But they're in the final, which is one step further than they've been for since 1966. You know, they keep getting to the finals. So it's quite something. It was tense. I have to say, it wasn't a great game. It was good, but it was more tense than anything else. I'm not sure whether I'll be the best person to judge the game anyway, because it was so hairy.
I did get up at. I was awake at 4 o'clock.
Yeah,
ready to watch it, and I'm going through every channel known to mankind on Fox Sports and on free to air. Nothing.
Oh, really? You couldn't find it?
Couldn't find it.
Oh, wow.
It must be on some. It must be on some obscure paid TV thing, but certainly wasn't on Fox Sports. Which surprised me.
Maybe. It surprises me that it's not covered worldwide. Really, I mean, it's a massive tournament. The Copa America is going on at the same time. I'm not sure whether that's kind of bigger over in Australia or not, but it's a big tournament. Certainly over here, it's a big tournament. So it was fun. I mean, it was one of those kind of situations where Zoom kind of came into play, because I had my friends on Zoom and
okay, yeah,
and Sally and I were watching it, and it was pretty tense. I mean,
I'll bet
they weren't lucky to win by any stretch, but they I mean, they probably just about deserved it. I thought Denmark played brilliantly, considering that the issues they got, and considering they got 5 million people in Denmark, and we're looking at closer to between 65 and 70 million people over here. So fair play to them. Fair play to them for putting up such a good performance for the whole thing. But it's nice, mate. I mean, I don't think we're necessarily the second best team in it, because the draw was quite favourable for us. But this is just the way the cookie crumbles. So
Sure.
if we lose the final now, I have to say that they must see that as a victory, really. But anything can happen now.
Yeah, I'll have to find out what carrier is actually broadcasting in Australia, but certainly none of the main ones. Right. Anyway, onward and upward.
Yeah. So markets wise, but interesting, really, what's happened so far this morning. A pretty swift sell-off, and it appears like it may well continue. So there could be some setups that are going on now. I did just get in and out of something, but if I'm truthful, I was in a short yesterday that went against me, and I hedged out the position. So I've got this. Oh no! Actually, no. Sorry, I'm okay. I've managed to hedge it out to a point where they are now cancelled out. So a little bit of profit this morning for me, but there is actually probably a lot more profit that people could make, and I'll show you what's going on, because there is some definite negativity that we're seeing with this market.
Okay, I think we've just been triggered into the euro, so I'll just call that if we get a TP1, guys.
Okay, mate. Yeah. All right. Let me share screen, and we'll just have a look around the grounds. So let's just talk about. Let me see what I can do here. Will that give me screen? Yes, it will. There we go. Let's have a look around the grounds and see what's going on. So FTSE 100 is weakening, and there are some pivots that is just kind of bouncing off and on right now. Not a bad area for a buy zone right here. Looks okay. Looks like it could possibly go a little bit further lower, but we've got a monthly pivot down here as well. Looks like there's a few kind of levels along here. But the market looks weak, and what we're seeing this morning, where it was probably a little bit more questionable yesterday, is energy stocks are currently down, health stocks are down, AstraZeneca are actually down almost 1%, but maybe most significantly of those energy stocks. And the reason that that's significant is that ever since we hit that magic 77 level, I'm going to call it 77 because it was within a few cents of that point on WTI. The oil market has been very, very weak. I mean, it's down a whole 10% from the highs. Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. Look what happened.
What was that high?
The high on the futures was 76.95.
Yeah, not too dusty, eh?
Oh, mate. I mean, considering you called that out months ago, I think it's pretty impressive, personally. And it is interesting because I pride myself on price points, really. But I think this is where we enjoy collaboration, because there's some price points that you pick out that I just haven't seen. I hadn't seen this one. I hadn't picked out the 77. I didn't have a line in the sand. Now, even though I didn't trade it directly, what it does is because the WTI is worldview category, and when we're talking about what we're going to trade, there's certain things we need to know in the other markets about what's going on, and WTI is really, really important. So what it's helped me with is how am I going to trade the FTSE, because the FTSE is made up of a couple of big hitting oil stocks,
sure.
i.e. Shell and BP. So what this is showing me is that there could be some weakness in the market, and the weakness has stepped in. If we look at this day one, day two, and this is currently where we are. We're a little bit kind of stuck on day three. Really, we got day one moving to the upside, but right into a sell zone. And sorry, day one is negative. This one here. Day two is moving into the sell zone, and then day three we're coming down again, and we may well break. We've had negative a negative session from China, and there really is a spillover into what's going on with the FTSE.
Hang on a minute. Sure, John, no problem at all, buddy. Just coming when you're ready. All good.
And the the pattern here is also very negative. Now, I have to say that because of the hedge that I did initially take, I'm not able to take full advantage of the trade, but I am a bit of a safety first kind of trader. You know, I know there's an opportunity coming every day. That's the way I see it, or at least 3 times a week. So I'm not too worried about kind of cutting out trades and maybe not taking full advantage of the profit. But you can see there's the head and shoulders with a neckline that is running just along here. So we got a technical reason now to be looking for the shorts in the FTSE. Yes, it could do with breaking down the neckline, which is around about there probably. Looks like a neckline. So there may well be a little bit more room to the downside. It could get stuck in this area here. It might get stuck in this area here. We just don't know. But it's certainly looking negative, and the market really has opened up very negatively. So let's look around around the grounds and see what else looks like it might corroborate this particular view. And the other things that I like to check now. WTI is really important. Bonds are really important. The dollar is really important. You know, these are the things that we should be looking at when we're taking an assumption on our worldview. Now we haven't got bonds, and we have got the dollar, which we're going to check out. The other things that I like to check is really what's going on with the Aussie, what's going on with the yen, because that shows this growth and negativity. Massive move to the downside so far this morning with the Aussie and the yen. Australia's Governor Lowe did have an announcement, so that's probably not helped either. But right across the board, what we're seeing is a yen which is strengthening. That's the Swissy yen. CAD yen, you and I discussed, mate, if oil was going to come off again. 1, 2, 3 big days so far to the downside with the CAD. Particularly against the yen, and we also see the euro yen, which was my favorite of all of them, also weakening into potentially an area down here. We've got Christine Lagarde now saying that they are quite happy to overshoot their 2% target on inflation, and that potentially means that they won't be moving again. So further weakness for the euro is probable from that. And also what's probable from that is that we may have to wait until Christine Lagarde speaks next Tuesday before we get another possible move to the downside. So any move up between now and Tuesday is looking at this stage like a selling opportunity. As I say, we've got to look at that level, but a push into this area here, a push into possibly along the trend line here, that is going to show negativity for the euro yen. But that would have to be in conjunction with the timing of next Tuesday, I would suspect, before if we're going to take advantage. Way too late to get into the downside here, so we do need that pullback. Now, also want to
we're doing okay. We've been in that for about 2.5 weeks now.
It's great, mate. It's great. You know,
yeah.
a brilliant trade, and I'm really pleased that that you guys are in that. The other market,
especially the candle that we trade. You see the little candle that we traded?
This one here.
The second swing high from the top.
The second one. So this one here, is it?
No, go up again.
One.
That one.
This one here.
That's the one we traded, yeah.
Wow, that is fantastic.
Yeah, 45 pip risk or 46 rather, for 340 something at the moment.
Goodness me! So we're almost looking at a 10-1 here, probably on the second half. So 5-1 with profit taken on the first half. I mean that's a cracker of a trade, that one. Need to check out the dollar. Now the dollar is weakening today, which
it's a big question mark, that one.
Yeah, it is a big question mark. Jerome Powell and the Fed released minutes from the meeting yesterday, and the FOMC minutes were effectively talking about the minutes were effectively talking about tapering. So it's certainly still on the Fed's timeline. It's still on the Fed's desk, if you like, that they're going to be talking about tapering. Saw a little bit of dollar strength coming into play, but it's just weakening off a little bit. But what was quite significant was what happened to gold, really, when the talk of tapering came out, and gold did weaken somewhat. And the question now is, does this create a buying opportunity? And the answer is probably. It does.
I've got a bang on a resistance trend line.
It's a difficult one, really, with gold, because the other thing is we've got this going
the
on.
dollar index, not gold.
Oh yeah, okay, I'll have a look at that as well. But look at gold. I mean, it's kind of through this level here, through this channel, this little rising channel here on the 4 hourly, and it's probably also on the daily, but we'll have a look at that in a second. Little rising channel there. This would suggest some downside. It doesn't look like that downside is that deep, because the channel's quite shallow. So if we were to draw this on here, then what we're really getting is something that measures around about there. And that drops us down to really this low again. It doesn't look too bad to kind of like maybe look for this low again. Sorry, that's the wrong place. Let me just select this.
Okay, guys, Euro Swissy did just hit TP1, so I've now moved my stops back where they should be at minus 14, I think.
Brilliant stuff, mate. It looks like we're in great shape with a slingshot at the minute. This is fantastic. So yeah, this is where we're at with with gold. It looks like it may come down, but it could also probably, it could start to go up. And the reason for that is that what you've just said about the dollar. The dollar is on a potential resistance zone just here. Right on a resistance zone, and really the Fed talking about tapering may not be enough to kind of drag the dollar back up again. We might still see some dollar weakness coming in, but global equities are looking very, very weak. Now we look at the VIX, little hot with the VIX. Can't see it so well on the weekly, but look at that on the dailies. Really getting a good stretch to the upside, and I think, when it comes down to global equities, this is a general thing that can happen during July. We are in those weaker months of the year. There's no major panic. I mean, that the Fed have kind of come out and said that there will be a talk of tapering, but there's still probably a little bit of room to the upside before there's out and out panic. But it might not be. It might be that we can come down and have a little correction. But to my mind, it probably will be a correction unless earnings season comes out really negatively. This is probably what we're looking at. So VIX is starting to pop to the upside. S&P, therefore, futures are significantly lower so far this morning, and it looks like a very negative bar. That may well lead us down to this area down here. The Nasdaq is also looking a bit toppy up here, as is the Dow. So right the way across the board, we're looking at negativity this morning, mate, and we're definitely feeling it in the FTSE. Possible bounce point here, but it's just about, can you get on board with this one? There we are. Can you get on board with this one? Yeah.
Happy. So are you looking to do that now, or?
Yeah, as I say, mate, I did enter a short this morning, but I cut it. I cut it when I was in enough balance of profit to protect against the hedge that I had to take on last night. It's looking now like a poor decision, actually, because there looks like there was some money in this market, but as I say, I went for safety first rather than trading, and it's it's almost like it's almost a bit of retribution, for me. I like to have a clear mind when I'm trading, and the only way I can do that is if I have a clean slate every time I approach the market. So I use the hedge to protect, but obviously the hedge can, as it did yesterday, it actually, because what happened was, for full disclosure, I entered the market yesterday short. And I will give you I'll give you the levels, just so you guys can kind of get to grips with where my thinking was. and just also to show that that I and we make mistakes, and I did make a mistake yesterday, and it's almost as I say, a bit of retribution. If I make a mistake, my first job is to correct the mistake, not to try and make money out of the market. As lovely as the market looks in a specific direction, my first job is correct the mistake. So what I did yesterday was and what I also have found in my years of trading is that mistakes tend to compound. So I prefer to kind of clear things up first. My first mistake was I entered a short around here in a buy zone. But what I was looking at that particular point was a potential for it to be a sell zone, if you like, on the dailies. So this was my daily level, just along there, just at the support of that line. That level got broken. So as the market pushed back up again, I was looking to take the short. Now, if we kind of come down, you'll see that as the market pushes up here, it gives me this bar here. So I'm looking to get in the short side here. That looked to me like a pretty decent trade. So I entered somewhere around about here, but the market pushes up. And at the end of the day, I heard that that the talk of tapering was the plan, but it sounded like it was still way off. I'm looking at the hourly, and I see a push up here. So what I'm looking at now is a break of a trend line. So I enter this long as a hedge while keeping the short in the market. And the reason I keep the short in the market is that I think the market is weak enough to continue down. But when I wake up this morning, the hedge, the original trade is in profit, but the hedge is well and truly out of profit. So then when the market opens up, I enter another short. And as soon as this one kind of hops into profit, the aggregate hops into profit, then I'm closing all trades. And I closed all trades pretty early. It was about here, and there was still another 20 pips to the downside that I could have taken. As I say, because I want to try and keep a clear head, and I like to kind of clear my positions first. So now I can start to go back to trading on a flat basis, and what I am looking for is to get short. It doesn't look to me like this market's got too much positivity. The big question is, do we start to actually move to the downside and through these lower levels today? Are we like to break this lower trend line that we've just seen a bounce point from here? Are we like to break that lower trend line today? And there is every chance. We just looked around the charts. We've seen the VIX higher. We've seen the S&P lower. We've seen the Dow lower. We've seen the dollar a little bit tepid. I probably want to see a bit of a stronger dollar. But we're seeing WTI possibly a bit more tepid today. So that might just give us an opportunity. And we're seeing gold starting to strengthen a bit as well. So we may well get an opportunity. I'm never too worried about the upside, but we may well get an opportunity for some downside. But we've got to be very careful with it, and that's what I will look for. But it looks negative. So, question is, where would we like to get in? Now, just as I was drawing my levels to make my decisions yesterday, let's have a look where the clean levels are. This is the first potential entry point. Now, if we think about the dynamics of this, these are the safest trades. When the market's kind of down in this level, it's already running. The trade is already running. So let's think about and this is what I always look for, and this is why I kind of did what I did yesterday. I look for a break and a retest, and this is our retest bar here. So that gives us a green light to go. Now, this is before the market opened, and I don't like to trade before 8 o'clock. The way I want to trade is as I want to take advantage of the volatility. So don't like to trade before 8 o'clock. So this is really the bar that we'd be looking for. So it doesn't look at this stage that we have an opportunity to get on board on this one. So we can do one of two things. We either wait for this one to shape up again, testing another level of resistance, which would be on a trend line here, on a horizontal level here. That one's now above that line, so we don't need to worry about there. Let's have a look if there's any others. There's a horizontal level there because of that. Don't particularly like that, but there might well be a pivot there. In fact, let's switch back to the pivots to do our analysis here. Yeah, looks like the weekly pivot might be a possible area to try and get in. There's a trend line there. Looks like there's a trend line along here, and that looks pretty good. So now now I've got a potential area to get in on the hourly, and it's very likely that position could come in on the 15. So a move up to this level and some kind of signal would be good. It would be kind of low because we've got all this open water that hasn't been tested, and I'd much prefer to see this trend line along a horizontal test line as well. So we'll see, but the market looks weak, and when the market looks this weak, it doesn't tend to come back to these levels. It tends to go to the first point of resistance, and it will just go. This looks like the first point of resistance somewhere in this area. I will draw a fib as well. So we'll draw it from the very highest point to the lowest point. And we can see a 38% retracement on the weekly. So we're starting to kind of build some confluence here. So weekly's looking like the best price point that we can try and get. That's going to be around about 21 pips, 22 pips above where we are now. So push into this area looks pretty good. What else? This is the other fib I want to draw, and it's the current move. And that gets us to 68%, 61.8% retracement. So the weekly pivot looks like the safest point to try and get in. If the market behaves, if it comes back, it doesn't look like there's much out. Now, the other thing we need to check now is what's the sentiment? Where are we at today? And if we look at what's been reported so far, weaker trade balance from Europe, unemployment rate from Switzerland. We've had the RBA statement out as well, or Governor Lowe speaking. Not sure what that created. Look at the current account on the yen. This is why we're seeing a decent yen move. Decent numbers there, with a weak number from German trade balance. So nice bit of balance going on there to kind of give us a nice clean trade. ECB monetary policy minutes accounts as well. That might be of interest. Unemployment claims. Lagarde is speaking today. Okay, I didn't realise that. That might give us an opportunity. Maybe that puts the market on a little bit of a hold, but it's looking very nervous. Look at the price action, mate. It's looking very, very nervous right now. So yeah, I'm not sure whether there'll be an opportunity to get on board with this one. Get on board with this one. It's looking tricky.
Yeah, it certainly looks difficult, and it looks like they've made up their mind, frankly.
Yes, it absolutely does. I'd like to know what happened ultimately with OPEC as well, and I will look into that. But as I say, WTI moving to the downside has really affected some of these stocks. Royal Dutch Shell down 1% this morning, BP down 0.5%, but very close to where the initial kind of trend started to take off. So the price point is really back to where we were almost 3 months ago, and that's a fairly negative sign for something like for a stock like BP. I'm not seeing a lot of interest here, mate, for the buying to come in. So either we get a settling down here, definitely not a buying opportunity. Either we get a settling down here, or we continue to the downside. But it does look like we're going to get a real rocket up at this particular stage. No bounce is coming in, and any bounce that does appear to come in looks like it would be a dead cat. So I would be relatively comfortable with a short at around about that weekly pivot, and it's just a question of, do we get the opportunity? Not sure. Market's really weak.
Yeah, I'm waiting for this euro to take off, but it's struggling, really struggling to get through the level.
Yeah, do you know, my assessment of the dollar is that it's probably a tentative buy, which as soon as you stick the word tentative in, it means that there's probably enough of a lack of clarity to get us a really nice clean trade. And I think if you're looking at the yen, the clarity is really starting to lift. You know, it's really starting to get there. Seasonals were strong, COT was pretty strong, and the fundamentals are now stacking up. So I would have thought. I mean, you've been in that trade 3 weeks, haven't you?
Euro yen, yeah, 2.5, yeah.
2.5 weeks. I mean, I would have thought that would be something that that would last at least a month and possibly longer, because as I say, the way the yen's looking right now is pretty good. I don't hear anything from the ECB that looks like that's going to start to curb the selling. So it looks like we might well be in a position where we are sticking with that particular position right now.
Yeah, look, the bloody dollar, it's a pain in my side. It really is. It doesn't give me clarity at all. I used to, just look at euro dollar and understand, and yeah, I know what's happening today and all the rest of it. Now it's just because the dollar's so fickle, in my humble opinion, it makes it very, very difficult. And I'm really considering just closing this order now at pretty much at entry, because it's tried 100 times already to get through this level where we've got our entry, and doesn't want to do it. You know what happens, of course, the minute I close it, don't you?
Yeah, I know what you're saying, mate. But you know what? The way obviously we kind of coming from completely different spectrum, so it's a tricky one. But I'm just not getting any clarity from the dollar. I think the euro is pretty clear to me.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. But getting any clarity from the data from the dollar is a bit tricky. I mean, if somebody shoved my arm behind my back and said which way is the dollar going, I'd say it's going long. But there are more questions at this stage than answers. The Fed haven't really kind of given us clarity. They're doing what they normally do. They're kind of back to what they normally do. Really, Jerome Powell's made this headline statement with very little to back it up with, and they're kind of sticking with it, but they're sticking with sort of rhetoric. We're talking about it. We're not talking about it. We're talking about it, which is okay. Well, what does that even mean? What do you mean?
Yeah, it doesn't help, does it?
No,
it just doesn't help.
Talking about it is kind of going, should we start discussing it? Yeah, we should. That's really the end of the conversation, isn't it? I mean, if you're talking about it, you're going, how do we position ourselves to start tapering? And I think that's probably more likely the conversations they're having, rather than sort of like going, should we start discussing how we're going to do it? I mean, who does that? People don't do that, do they? I mean, that's a Skype message. Do you want to meet later on? Yeah, that's talking about it, not actually kind of like having that meeting and saying, like, how are we going to implement this?
Yeah, I agree.
So I think they are in this situation where they've possibly they possibly caught themselves a bit short. I think what's happened is Jerome Powell's made a statement. The data hasn't backed up what he was kind of saying, and now they've spooked people enough to kind of think, well, we kind of need to row back on it a bit of what we said, but at the same time. There is something on the horizon, but it's probably just a bit further out than we thought it would be. I really do think they've made a bad judgment of inflation.
As you know, I never heard them say it, so that was my position.
Yeah, well, it seems like they're almost backing that up, mate. Anyway, but the markets are spooked. The markets are definitely spooked. But interestingly, the dollar's not as strong as it could be. If we look at some,
well, I think it's as strong as it should be.
It probably
could possibly hope to be.
Yeah. Well, I suppose maybe not as strong as I thought it would be if they are going to be talking about tapering and you see the markets going the other way. There's real mixed messaging. Let's see if we can have a look at the 10-year 10-year bond yield as well. And see what that's doing. 132. So there's been a big dive in the yield on the bond as well.
Yes.
you know, this is where when we were sort of starting to get worried about this is when we were starting to get worried about inflation. It was starting to hop up to the 170 mark, but the yield is now down to 132. So you know, there has been a buying, if you like. You know, people are sort of like out there now buying bonds again, which is pushing the yield lower. But that's not really kind of indicative of you know, the market being particularly worried about this inflation story. So mixed messaging, but as I say, there's enough else going on to continue to spook the market. I wonder how low we may go today.
Don't know. Guys, I'm going to close this. I'm going to close euro dollar at what, -1 pip at the moment. So it's gone. Don't want it anymore. It's tried too many times to go through there. And it's not to say it won't go through there, but I don't want to be part of it anymore. To me, it's now becoming a guessing game, and, you know, 50-50 as to which way it goes now. So I'm out.
Fair enough, mate. Fair enough.
Like I said, now's the time it'll shoot up.
Yeah, well, you know, this is what we got here as well. You know, I closed my position short here, and look at it now. It's down another. Which is not quite as bad as it's about 0.5% lower. But this really could be on a move all day today. Rio Tinto, that was up around about 3 and a bit percent yesterday, is now down 3 and a bit percent. So the market is fully reversed from yesterday. You know, after that FOMC minutes, and it is that connection. You know, this is where you start to see, you know, what was it? What's the driver? And it looks like the minutes have really spooked the market. You know, so far, the initial reaction wasn't all that aggressive, but it's definitely aggressive now. Unless this is something to do with Asia, that's a possibility. I know there was some issues over there, and if we look at what happened with the Hang Seng overnight, this is where the Hang Seng kind of ended up for the day. Towards the end of the session, just a massive drop to the downside on that as well. So maybe it's more to do with the Asian stock market than the FOMC, but there's definitely some risk off going on right now, and you know, you only have to look at the Aussie yen to really see that. So if you're not
I saw it yesterday.
As
I said, that was my position yesterday. I thought the market was risk off.
Yeah.
For currencies, not necessarily anything else, but for currencies, I saw it risk off, and that's why I got into those. Well, there were 3 pairs this morning. I think I said yesterday that the momentum shift overnight, Tuesday to Wednesday, yes. To me, that was a change in market sentiment. And I think we're seeing that play out now.
Yeah. It certainly looks that way, mate. Certainly looks that way.
To answer your questions, Lewis, I go pound yen before it retraces down to about 1. Where am I? I don't know that it'll stop, but I think it'll retrace around about 150.50. So another 100 pips. And euro yen, I've got that level at about 129.30. But I don't believe it'll end, but I think they're good take profit points.
Yeah.
Or move stops.
Yeah, this and this is the thing to watch. This is a really interesting area on the FTSE. It really needs to hold here if there's any chance that that there's any kind of recovery back up to the weekly pivot. If this gives way, there's no telling how low this can go. Really, this could be easily down another 50 pips, another 1%. Really, it's not quite that, but it's close enough. Could easily be down another 1% from the point we're at by the close of trade today. So these levels are really important. You know, just what you're saying about the euro yen. I think it's probably the same. where these levels need to hold. This is probably the ultimate area for the FTSE. FTSE needs to be up here before the end of the day. Otherwise, we probably are looking at a bit of a bear market, possibly for a period. And the question is, have we got enough to go on? And I was looking at Forex Factory earlier, just to kind of get an idea of was there anything in its way, and I have to say it didn't look like it. I mean, you've got now you've kind of got that situation where there are a few kind of meetings. You know, that's what we got today. This is tomorrow. Bank of England's Governor Bailey speaking tomorrow. That's not going to be a shift in the market. That won't do anything to global equities. And then we start to go into next week. And the only thing I've really found at the start of next week is this CPI data from the States, but it's not that big. It's not that kind of significant. But I was struggling, or I am struggling to kind of see what may well hold this market back. If it starts to give way today, it looks like it could be something which may embed itself for at least a week. Retail sales.
That's how I see it, mate. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I say earnings season might change that up, but yeah, we are dangerously well, in fact, we're through this level now. Okay, mate. Well, is there anything else, or should we get to quiz time? Is there a quiz today? I wasn't sure what John was asking there.
Yeah, I think he just wanted to come in a little bit later. I'm not sure. I
great.
didn't see them.
Great. Well, we're good for the quiz. Are you okay, mate? Anything else you want to update us on?
Look, I don't think so. I'm pretty comfy with where we are. We're in pretty good shape, frankly. So I'm a bit disappointed with euro dollar that didn't take off, because it really did look like it wanted to explode to the upside. But of course, the dollar, as I said, yeah. How do you judge it? I don't know. Anyway, we haven't done any damage there, and if you're still in it, you've still got a strong chance of it going anyway. But I just don't want to be in it anymore. Gives me SH12s hanging around that long.
Yeah. All right, fantastic. Let's do the quiz.
Let's do the quiz.
Let's get to it.
We need an intro for the quiz.
Yeah, we do. John, you need to write a theme tune.
I'm a table drummer. You know, you've seen me table drum, Ash.
Oh yeah, you're a brilliant table drummer, mate. There's no better.
I'm sure there's not. There's nobody as loud or mad, I'm sure.
There's he needs to share screen. Where we at? Yes, I'll ask you to unmute first, John. Are you struggling there, mate?
Yeah, unable to start video. Don't know why that is.
Let me stop sharing and see if that helps.
You cannot start your video because the host has stopped it.
Oh, okay. James, can we give John some powers, mate?
Disabled participant. Well, there we are. Whew.
There you go.
Yeah, that was I tightly planned a couple of hours. I had to take my wife to get a second COVID injection and get back at the same time. So
very good, mate. What flavour did she have?
We do the AstraZeneca.
Right. Yeah.
But the follow-up on those reports is that we have an AstraZeneca made under license, and it either comes from South Korea or Thailand. And this was the sticking point with the EU Medicines Advisory Board, or whatever they're called. So hopefully they can clear that up.
Okay, what does that mean? Does that mean it's not as good, or
the way it's interpreted by some members of government here is that people who had that vaccine wouldn't be recognised. So essentially, you have to have another vaccine when you're back in the UK.
Yeah. Do you know this is it's an issue, isn't it? Because I've heard this that if you haven't had Pfizer, you can't get into the States.
Yeah, so my wife's mom is getting on. She lives in a home, and she might have to pop back if the unfortunate happens. So you just wanted some clarity.
Yes.
Right. Ooh, I better get rid of that. That's your screen.
Yeah. I know it is all just so confusing that they haven't made this easy for everybody at all.
No, so we're sort of thinking, right, so we're planning to pop back, hopefully, if we can travel next July into the UK and give it so I've got to have some more vaccines.
Yeah. Well, by then we'll probably need pop-ups anyway.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's something I got no control over, so I just jog on and get on with the next thing.
Yeah.
The next quiz question.
The next
I'm hoping there's a football question in here, Jeff.
Oh no.
Okay, right. Can everybody see that? See that? Share. Can you see that?
Yeah, gotcha.
Rock and roll. Okay. It's it's a tricky question first up, and then it gets easier. Obviously, this pair, Jeff's just been talking about it, is the most widely traded Forex pair, obviously due to the size of both economies. Most people will know where the seat of government is for the USA, but where is the European Parliament based, city and country? It's not that easy. I was amazed on it. I thought of one thing, and I thought, that probably makes me now understand why it's such a mess when they're trying to sort stuff out.
Isn't it over 2 countries?
It is over it's in Strasbourg in France, and then the Parliament meets in Brussels, and then they've got a secretariat hall in Luxembourg. So in one way I can understand. So if you'd have put France down, and if you'd have put Brussels, Belgium, and Luxembourg, you'd have been correct.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah, bit of an odd one.
I didn't know that. I knew Brussels, but I didn't know it was multi.
I'm an ardent European, and I thought, whoa, no wonder people wanted to leave. Okay, here we go then. What was the first official transaction?
Ooh,
Bitcoin.
Wow. Okay, this
has been mentioned a couple of times over the last couple of weeks.
Bitcoin's having a bit of a struggle today. It looks like it's down with all of the other risk on bits.
Okay, so hopefully you'll look up with pizza.
Pizza. Someone got it.
Come up with
Ash,
pizza.
you got
There
it.
you go.
It's only you and me playing.
It is only you and me playing, mate.
Is there anything on YouTube? Anyone playing on YouTube?
In the middle of the night, took all the keys and turned the power off after 20 years. This happened this week.
Oh, who left in the middle of the night, took all the keys and turned off
the power after 20 years. Now, everybody might think this isn't financial. This 20 years has cost a lot of money. This 20 years.
Okay, it's a bit cryptic.
I'm
going to go with
it's a bit I'll keep my political views to myself. I was tricky one.
Okay, hold on before you do that. All right. Let me put my original one down. I can see it's not right, but oops. Sorry for the caps. Yeah.
Okay. The American Armed Forces.
Oh.
NATO allies leave Bangor airfield after 20 years. They took all the keys to the cars, left them there.
Oh.
3.5 million items of stuff to sell. They left in the middle of the night. They didn't tell the incoming security team from the Afghan government, cut the power off, and said, "Over to you." That was it's cost billions.
Why have they been so mean?
I don't understand it. It's just so silly. But still, there you are. I did think that was a bit of a that was a cost implication. Here we go then. Get your sporting head on. Right. The English football team finally get their act together.
Yay!
Final for once. But can you name the year and the venue or the country the last time the English football team made an appearance in a final?
Oh,
There
we know
goes
this.
the Euro, just smashed through TP1. You wouldn't. Unbelievable.
Oh, you're joking.
No,
Was it a short or long, Jeff?
long.
It was long. Okay.
I actually don't know where it was, but I'll go with that.
My wife didn't either. I was amazed. I know the venue because I've been quite lucky. And I have played at the old venue 3 times.
I've got the year-end venue.
You should have the year and the venue. You should have 1966 and the old Wembley Stadium.
I do.
Aha, there you go. Lewis and I got it.
The next one, yeah,
I do have that. I mean, I should know that really.
I sent mine to Lewis.
This will make Jeff. There is another English men's sports team that is better at getting to finals. However, they too only won once.
Oh.
Can you name the sport and the year of victory? Bonus point. How many times has this team made the finals?
Okay. I'm going to say this.
Oh, I don't think they've ever won a World Cup in that. But they did win. I can think of the year. I remember Johnny, what's his face?
Johnny Wilkinson. You going for rugby here, Jeff?
Yeah.
That was in 1992, was it?
Was it?
A bit later than that.
Are we good? Are we good to rumble?
I'm going to go with.
Oh no, is it 2001 actually? I put hockey. I'm going to take a punt on hockey in 1984.
I've gone for this one. The sport is rugby union. They won it in 2003.
2003. Bugger.
But I remember the first loss, 1991. They were a shoo-in to win, and then they changed their way of playing and started throwing the ball around. And Oz had a good laugh and nicked it because they were better at throwing the ball around.
Oh, that's interesting, mate. So 91, that would have been who's that? Is it Will Carling was the captain? Yeah. So Will Carling, then they were kind of big on kicking. Very boring though, weren't they?
They were kicking and scrumming, and they got to the final, and they thought. Then they changed it, and then they started throwing the ball around and lost. Australia were way better at throwing the ball around, and then they lost in 2007, and obviously 2019.
Australia beat France overnight.
Yeah, it was a good game. Did you watch it?
I had no choice. I couldn't watch the other bloody game.
Okay, who stepped down this week to possibly blast off into a new career venture?
Oh.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, without this guy's operation, the world would have had a bit of a tough time, I think. Maybe. I don't know. Depends on your viewpoint on how you get your stuff. Who stepped down this week?
I'd say it's one of 3 people. I've put one of them down. I think it is right, but...
Well, he's off on Sunday, isn't he?
Is he?
The last we see of him, that'll blow up.
Jeff?
Oh, Jeff Bezos.
The other one.
Yeah.
Amazon. How are Big Jeff might be about to blast off to the moon, but who's hoping to beat his countdown to success?
You don't have to type anything, Ash.
Yeah, same as
I thought something reasonably light-hearted today after watching the match.
Oh yeah, I think we need it.
Okay, so Richard Branson.
Is that the spaceship? Is it?
That's one of the models. I can't remember which one's finally going to get up there.
You guys seen that flying car that's been touted around? It looks amazing. It looks awesome. The wings kind of come in and it turns into a car, and then
just needs an airport to land on it. I think.
Yeah, and it needs a bit of infrastructure.
How are they going to build the roundabouts up there?
Just gather some clouds, put some nets around.
A musical question without playing. What is the most popular musical instrument in the world to play?
Oh, I think this has got to be. It's got to be this.
No, it's one of two, isn't it?
Yeah, I would have got this wrong. If somebody had given me this question, I would have got it wrong.
Got to be that.
Yeah, I'm going to go with that too.
The portability alone would suggest it would be that.
Are you about to make the same mistake that I did?
Wow! Now that surprises me.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
That surprises me.
Apparently, there are 21 million Americans playing piano of some sort.
Wow. Wow. Do you know? I mean,
I thought it would have been guitar, but
the population of the planet really going, probably more. Yeah, just the portability. I would have thought. I mean, I prefer the piano as an instrument, but I would have thought it'd be guitar. Yeah, I thought people take it around and hang out with it, write the songs.
And the last one, which I don't. Which English Prime Minister played the piano?
Oh.
Now this
is an interesting one.
A bit tricky because
Churchill. He'd be playing it like Beethoven.
What's wrong with that?
yeah, Churchill is a bad.
Well, I suppose Beethoven was quite popular. Churchill's more a drummer. I can see him more as a drummer. Oh, Eddie boy.
Yeah. And that is today's short quiz.
Very good, mate.
Awesome, mate. Thank you.
Oh, that was a good one. I liked those questions. They were really good today. I had my eye on the market in the background, which has not had any opportunity to start to recover, really. But yeah, that was a good one, mate. Well done.
Hey, thank you. The Swiss.
Well done. So, where are we at, mate? Any? Would you like to ask Jeff and I anything? A quick AMA.
Yeah.
Go on then.
Right. Well, it's got to do. It has to do. This has to do with the dollar and the markets. Just about chopping and changing. It does this Powell geezer. Does he just not keep shooting himself in the foot by not actually admitting that there's inflation? Because I'm not an economist, but I go to the shops, and my fuel of choice has gone up in price. So
fuel,
my beer, right, okay. The price of my beer has gone up in price, and so is a basket of other of things. So how can they not say it's not going up? I don't understand.
Well, I can answer the beer question. Because in Australia, beer goes up twice a year, regardless of what's going on.
Yeah.
It's a thing. And I think it's because the government just keep taxing them a little bit more. The tax level goes up, or however they get it off, the excise duty or whatever they do, I don't know. But as far as everything else is concerned, I think you'll see that happen. And the more oil goes, then that will obviously contribute to inflation, because the more it goes, the more people spend on fuel. So, and the more people who actually travel with goods in their trucks, delivering those to the retailers off whom you buy, they put their prices up. And the good old retailers are not going to say to you, look, John, you're a good bloke, we're going to wear that cost. We're not going to pass it on to you, because they'll pass it on to you. So that is inflationary. And I think oil has a big say in what happens next, as far as inflation is concerned.
my Forex pair trading question is, because I'm completely new to this, as inflation rises, how does that affect trading currencies? I know that might sound a stupid question.
No, mate, it's not a stupid question at all, and it would depend on what the reaction is to the central bank within that country, and that's what we're always making an assumption of. You know, whenever we're trading currencies, really, we're trying to make an assumption of what is the next move, who's going to move first, who's going to give us most value, who's going to have a currency that can withstand, you know, a rising any rising of prices. So when you think about a currency, think about its purchasing power. If you're getting inflation inside the Eurozone, for example, and the ECB aren't going to be raising interest rates, that makes the euro weaker. So that's where inflation sort of needs to be always kind of taken into account. And as I say, your question, what should be at the forefront of your mind all the time is how strong does this make our currency? You know, how much purchasing power does this give my currency? If you're going into the shop and beer has gone up in value, but the country that you're in has not given you a better return on your savings account because the central bank hasn't raised inflation and it's being passed on, then that means your money is worth less where prices are going. You know, it's worth less because there's a gap now between what you're getting paid from the bank and what you're having to spend on items. But if the bank are trying to stay in step with that, if beer has gone up by 2%, but the central bank have come out and said, look, we're going to raise interest rates by 2%, and there's another currency which hasn't done that, then it means that your currency should strengthen off the back of that. So if nobody moves, which we've had for a long, long time, the next question is who's going to move first? And we're looking at the data to kind of go to make an assumption. What does this data mean for the central bank? Where does this push them into a decision? Because the decision will be either up or down or stay where you are. What we've heard from the Fed is that the Fed are now talking about tapering, whereas the ECB haven't. So that straight away would say to me, until the ECB come out and say the same thing, then that should strengthen the dollar. Yeah. But data needs to back that up. You know, this is where we're looking at unemployment numbers. This is where we're looking at CPI numbers, most importantly, consumer price index, the University of Michigan, all that kind of thing. But if the unemployment numbers start to fall, that puts more pressure on the Fed to move that talk about to a closer date, or certainly to start announcing more and more about it. So that means that we are now we've got something to hold on to. We've got something we should be looking at, data points to be looking at. The fact that ECB haven't even started talking about it means that it almost doesn't matter about the data so much until they say it's going to be about this. When we see this metric in the right area, then we can start talking about it. And that could be unemployment, it could be wage inflation, it could be CPI numbers, it could be a basket of things. But ultimately, that's the judgment you're making when you are trading one currency versus another. You're really trading the assumption of the move of the central bank.
Okay. Oh, I did think of something to answer your question about talking about something. Yes, Prime Minister.
What did they talk about? Talking about
during the 90s called Yes, Prime Minister. But I do have some people that work for the Foreign Office and friends, and they have lots of meetings about talking about.
Right. Okay. Okay, fair enough.
But it sometimes does more harm than good.
Yeah. Well, it does. It's certainly when they make that announcement. But yeah, does that answer your question though, John?
Yes, it does. Yeah. I'm just watching with Frank.
Now, the thing about that as well is that then we can start kind of thinking about other instruments like gold, for example. Gold is an inflation hedge. The problem that gold has had is the bond yield was also rising. So when a bond yield rises, it chokes the kind of the interest in gold. But now we're seeing that bond yield come down. If inflation next week, if the CPI data next week from the States is quite high, that would put pressure on the dollar potentially, and gold to go higher. Depending on what they say, I think they've got a meeting today, haven't they? Or no, it's the ECB today. So depending on what they say next, it's going to start putting pressure. So that's when we might start to see a pickup in gold. But gold is at an interesting juncture really here. And if you started to buy gold at this particular point, you may well be a little bit early with the picture, but you potentially get the better price. But you'd have to be ready to cut your position if CPIs weren't picking up sufficiently and the bond yields didn't continue to decrease. So you are watching different metrics when you're sort of like looking at gold. You're not just looking at gold, if you see what I mean. You're not just looking at the gold chart.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Well, unless there's anything else, mate, or unless anybody else has got any other comment or question out there, I guess we're going to wrap it for the week.
I'll just update some trades, mate. I'm going to put some more money in the bank.
Oh, good man. Okay, let's do that then. Always
across
like to hear
a few pairs. We'll start with the Aussie. Aussie has taken off against the dollar, but it's at a pretty strong level here. So I'm going to do two things. Well, I don't have to do two things, but I can do two things. One is I can move my stops above the weekly pivot and yesterday's daily bar. So that's what I'm going to do there. That level is 75.40. So we'll move that to 75.40. So there's another 93 pips in the bank. The next one is Euro Yen. Euro Yen has gone very close to where I suggested there'd be another take profit level. I'm not going to do anything just now. We've got stops at entry at the moment, but I think that level there, 129.33, it's a cloud of a price. Next move down, I'm going to take profit on that. Not sure about the stops. Yeah, I think they can come down as well. They can come down to above the monthly pivot. I'll actually do that now. What's the level? 132.10. There's another 115 pips in the bank. Next one is pound Kiwi. We can't do anything with that, but that's just about back to entry for us. That's now looking far better than it did before. The next one is Kiwi Yen. Kiwi Yen, again, is at a TP level. I'm going to move my stops to entry. And am I going to take anything off the table? Pretty close, isn't it? I'll let it get there and see what happens on a smaller time frame. But the stops definitely go to entry at this point. I can't remember what entry is. 77.34. That's done. Next one, Euro Swissy. Euro Swissy, we've just missed TP2 there. But again, that's at a support level. Stops are at entry. I've already done that. More off the table, I think so. Yeah, we've still got an untested daily pivot there. I'm going to bank half of what's left. I'll do that in a tick. And stops to entry. Pound Swiss has triggered. but not yet got a TP1. And the last one is Swissy yen, which has not triggered. Now, I wanted to see what the daily bar did today. Our entry's way up here. I think we'll get a far better entry if this is going long. So I'm going to cancel that one. So that's out. If it'll let me, there we go. So delete Swissy yen. That's now off the table. There you go, mate. Cleaned everything up.
Well done, mate. Nicely done.
All looking pretty handsome.
Just a little bit quieter now in the market this end as well. Gold looks pretty good, mate. Looks like it's going to try and get to that monthly pivot again. So it looks like a short-term little grab, smash and grab on gold if anybody's interested and has got some experience in trading that. But that's the best thing that I can see right now. So
what are we doing?
Let's wrap
gold long.
Gold long, yeah. There's a little gold long, and if you go onto a 15-minute chart. Then draw a little trend line as well.
Through here?
Yeah, or even, yeah, that's it's through there actually, yeah. So you can see that there's been a retest to the downside. I'm not sure whether that's a pretty ugly looking 15-minute bar, but it's not quite at that monthly pivot, and I think it's probably going to get there first. So
have another crack at it.
I think you'll have another crack at it, and it looks like there's enough room with stops at the just below the WR1 level as an opportunity there to take some. So
long here.
Yeah, long there with the break of that the black bar, break of the high, the black bar that you've got there. And then stops at the lows. But as I say, I'm not trading it. I'm not a gold trader, and I won't switch my my allegiance, if you like, because it's not necessary for me to do that. So this is really for gold traders. As gold traders, I'm just seeing that there's a potential opportunity if you trade gold and you're experienced.
I know that's a short-term trade. This is not, and I'm not. I'm really tempted to trade it. This bar here looks as though it's going to send price down to the weekly pivot. I think we're going to hang around in here a bit, mate.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think we could see gold, possibly get caught here for a few days. I mean, Ainsley's saying that the first week of July tends to be the start of a bit of a bull run. So that might be enough to keep gold nicely contained up here.
Well, if it takes out this high, it's goodbye. It's gone.
Yeah,
I reckon.
Yeah, I think you're right.
But we'll see. And I must apologise to you guys for taking that trade off the table. You would easily have got a TP1, as I expected. It did explode. Just took a hell of a long time, and I haven't got the time to spare, unfortunately. That's why I don't trade the smaller time frames when I'm trying to talk, because I can't. It's too hard.
It is tough, mate. It is tough. I've also made a mistake of coming out too early this morning for the same reason, but it is what it is. We take the rough with the smooth.
Yeah, look, what we've given away on the euro, we're getting back on Euro Swissy, so all good.
Yeah, all right, buddy. All right, well, thanks as always for your company this week. Thanks to everybody in the room's company. Thanks to you, John, for a fantastic quiz. And thanks to Angel for the week. She's not here, but thanks to her lovely assistant, James, who's been filling in for her today. Doing a grand job as always. We will be back next week. Same trade time, same trade channel. Oh, Jeff, I'll speak to you later about August. There is a stand-in. There will be a stand-in. So,
cool.
Yeah,
okay.
Don't worry about that. Okay, so see you next week. Same trade time, same trade channel at 5 to 8.
All right, mate. Thank you. Don't be late, you guys. And thank you all. As Asher said, have a wonderful weekend. We'll catch you on Monday. Bye-bye for now.